Hello!
Hi.
It's Silent Hill time. It's Silent Hill time. I'm excited. Got the
It's no dot hack.
got the eerie fucking music going. We're listening to Astral Order of Impurity from the I think basically defunct Voltsom tapes out of Germany. Like I looked up our house on Google Maps.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, because he didn't he say, I'm sorry to be a creep, but I'm really just wondering what the
Yeah.
like rent or anything is.
Yeah, because I like hit him up for some tapes like years ago at this point. And he's in Germany, and I gave him my address here, and he asked me if we rented or if we owned a house, and I was like, well, most people who have houses probably have bought the house, but we do rent a house. And he was like, oh my god, I'm sorry to be a creep, but I looked your house up on Google Maps. And I was just wondering if you would tell me how much it costs to rent that in America, because he just didn't. He was completely clueless about the American housing situation at all. He was really nice,
Yeah.
and his label is fucking cool. And they closed. I don't know. Like the label is on hiatus, but that hiatus page has been up for like a year and a half or something. I don't really know if he's coming back or not, but really cool label. Like I think almost everything they do might be analog, and like the stuff on their Bandcamp is like cassette ripped and stuff. It's really cool. Um, but we will fade that music out, and we will replace that with some Silent Hill. There it is. And we will play some Silent Hill. All right. So we're in a maze. We did last time
Yeah, you think last thing you did was kill the abstract daddy.
we went through we were in the historical society, and we went down a hole in the historical society, and we ended up in the prison. We went through the prison. We kept going through more holes in the ground. And yeah, finally we came to that subterranean labyrinth where eventually we fought the incredibly unsettling Abstract Daddy, which is probably the most horrifying boss in this game.
Yeah, so now you're just like in this sort of abstract apartment building because it was supposed to, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like Angela's apartment or something, right? Or is she just cornered in there?
I
I
have
just don't know why that monster would appear specifically for her if it wasn't like where she grew up.
I don't know. Cause like yeah, like right now I'm in something that looks like an apartment building.
And I think those monsters will just appear anywhere in the apartment as well.
What monsters?
Abstract daddies. I think that was a mini boss, and now they're just everywhere. I think they're common enemies. Not as common as nurses, but I think you can still encounter
Well,
them.
that's fucked up. Well, this is where we fought it.
Tyrus!
Yeah, so like you're walking down this hallway and you hear Angela in there, and you go in and you fight it. So I guess we keep going down this hallway now. What's our situation? We've got 109 shotgun shells. We've got 107 handgun rounds.
Getting low.
And we've got 36 rifle rounds.
Yeah, you're right, Tirith. It's not a very abstract boss at all. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, Yeah, it's fucked. It's
Like
fucked up.
the boss is obvious. The room you're in is pretty on the nose.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty horrifying. Okay, so what's the dealio here?
Oh yeah, we
Uh,
had this hanging
so
puzzle.
we've got the hanging puzzle.
So there's this room with just floating bodies, and then there's a different room with nooses.
Yeah. So
And
we're about to go to the noose room.
can you investigate the bodies? Like it looks like they have paper or something on their
No.
faces.
Oh wait, no, it does. Yeah. I was trying to do that a second ago and it wouldn't let me, but it was obviously a pixel off. This man was hung for the crime of kidnapping. Justice and revenge have been served. This man was hung for the crime of counterfeiting. Justice and revenge has been served. This man was hung for the crime of murder. Justice and revenge have been served. This man was hung for the crime of swindling. Justice and revenge have been served. This man was hung for the crime of arson. Justice and revenge have been served. This man was hung for the crime of thievery. Justice and revenge have been served. Okay. So we got 6 hung men. And they are all accused of different crimes. Then in here, we've got 6 nooses that correspond to those men. And on the wall, it says, dead men, swinging in a tree. How many dead men do you see? Tongue turned blue and face gone gray. Watch them as they twist and sway. The first one killed the butcher man, then cooked him in the frying pan, served him to his hungry guests, and gave them seconds on request. So that's murder. The next one, with his smile and sweets, stole poor children off the streets. To men who dressed unsavory, he sold them into slavery.
That's kidnapping.
Yeah. Breaking into a home at night, the thief he had a nasty fright, filled his foolish head with ale, woke in the morn in the county jail. The artist, with his daunting skill, tried his hand at painting bills, but caught in rain he was undone when the ink he'd used did start to run.
You didn't use archival quality ink on your fucking
Counterfeit.
yeah.
With promises of great return, taking gold he did not earn, bundled it up out of sight, quietly slipped into the night. Swindler?
I guess so.
3 houses into ashes burned. The sheriff, with no place to turn, did spy a stranger to his town, locked him up, and beat him down. Dead men, swinging from a tree. How many dead men do you see? 6 feet long and 6 men wide. Round their necks the noose be tied. So I think you have to pull these nooses in order.
Yeah. And I think this one closest to the camera is first.
Yeah, which is murder, right?
Yeah.
And then kidnapping is the one that's on the other end of this row.
I think kidnapping might have been the middle. No, you're right. Kidnapping was the first one up there, and then counterfeit is in the middle.
All right, let's pull this rope. Then we'll pull this rope. Well, James.
Is that the middle one or the second
I have no
one?
idea. I have no idea.
I think it might be the middle one. Yeah, it was the middle one. Well, shit.
What?
How do you reset it?
Did it stay down?
Yeah. Wait, what?
I don't know, dude. I mean, was it down or up?
It's down right now, and I'm pretty sure it's in the same position when you walk back in.
So I pulled it down twice,
Yeah.
even though it was still down.
So I don't know if that's a graphical glitch or what.
So is this one pulled down?
Yeah.
So what do I do?
You need to pull. I mean, to reset it, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what I need to do, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, why does it keep. Can you pull the one opposite it and see if it'll pull it back up? Like, not this one, because this one needs to be up, the middle one.
Maybe I need to go back to the room.
Maybe. Okay, that did pull it up. Okay. So it's murder, kidnap, and I've forgotten already what was next. Well, I mean,
I know, but I think we need to go back to the other room. I think it's fucked. Because I don't think it pulled that other one up. Can't do anything to these. So, kidnapping, counterfeiting, murder, swindling, arson, thievery. Hey, fuck you. Who let you in here? Yo! Yo, what is this?
punishment.
You're having a fucking party? Murder, kidnapping, thievery. So murder,
Yeah.
then kidnapping, then thievery. Murder, kidnapping. Thievery is right across from this one. Thievery, counterfeiting, swindling, arson. So counterfeiting is in the middle here.
Yeah.
Swindling is over here. Arson is here.
think whatever happens in the other room.
In which room?
The room with the bodies, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. The key of the persecuted. So that was the arson guy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the one on that said like the sheriff saw a stranger and beat him up in the jail.
Yeah.
Key left by prisoner who was wrongly executed.
Can you examine that, or does it just say this was from the face?
Yeah, it just says the paper that was covering the corpse's face is lying here.
I'd also like to say before you go into that hall, your health was pretty low.
These fools are gonna have to learn right now.
Oh yeah, Tirith wants to know if you have any idea what you're going to play after this.
Yes, I'm going to do some demo stuff, and then I'm going to play Inscription, which is
A card games, are you sure you want to play it?
yes, it's not a card game. It's got card elements, but it's a roguelite. It's like a dungeon crawler. All right, so I think this is the key. But I don't really know how long Inscription is, so I think the next long game I play, I don't know, it might be Layers of Fear, because I saw that Layers of Fear, which is like a survival horror game, like it's one of the bigger ones that got popular after Amnesia. It got a remake and a re-release as a whole trilogy package, and it looks super nice. I think I'm gonna buy it when it goes on sale for the summer sale. But it's just a really nice, slick, uh, horror like a first-person horror game.
Tirith says she hasn't seen or played it. I remember when it first came out.
Maria? Maria? Maria, no. What happened to you? Why? Why?
You think she's okay?
I mean, she went to sleep on a okay,
Oh.
I guess no, she's not okay.
Fucked up.
I was just gonna say she slept on a grody mattress before. How do we
Yeah.
know she didn't just have a quick nap?
Looks like she got real bad pink eye in both eyes. Like real bad.
Don't even get to do anything in that.
Yeah,
room.
like what's... Can we go back in there? There's nothing else for me in this room. Oh, this is open now. Yeah, like, I remember when Layers of Fear came out, because it kind of looks like every other kind of streamer baity walk around the mansion or whatever horror
I
game.
mean, it looked more polished than a lot of ones that were
Well,
coming out.
yeah, that's what I was going to say, is like, once you get past that, you can really tell that some work went into it. It's got a lot of nice graphical effects and stuff. So... be kind of cool to play that in a new updated version. Alright, we're in one of those Silent Hill inside cemeteries. Got some shotgun shells.
Was there not a health drink?
I'm trying to pick up what I thought was a health drink, but I guess it's just the...
Oh, I think it's a candle. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was too. I love rooms that should not exist, like this. Like this is an outside area inside of a room, completely enclosed. I think that's...
Well, maybe it's just a really tiny, shitty courtyard. Like, you can't look up, so there might not be a roof here.
Yeah, but I think there is a roof. Because it's so dark. It's a deep hole, but there's nothing inside.
Can you examine any of these, tombstones?
I don't know. I tried to hit a couple of them, but it didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, it's like that house within a house you showed us.
Yes. Yes. The name of this tombstone is too scratched up to read. An epitaph is inscribed. This felon drank one last bottle of ale before he was executed and laid here to his eternal rest. Yeah, like aesthetically in horror, I find stuff like that, stuff in enclosed spaces, to be really effective. Too scratched up to read. It's one of the reasons that I love Jens Svenmeyer's adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, because it's like, first of all, it's, you know, stop motion. Oh, so this is my tombstone. It's got my name on it. But yes, Jens Svenmeyer's oh, Eddie. This is Eddie's tomb. Jens Svenmeyer's Alice is all stop motion, and it's got it all takes place inside of rooms. Like, none of it is portrayed as being outside. This is Walter Sullivan's grave, who is the serial killer we heard about and who appears in fourth game.
Have you fought Eddie yet?
Not yet.
I didn't think so. Like, we saw him with the gun.
Yeah,
being a weirdo.
I thought you fought him then, but I was wrong. Miriam K. Traitor. Who is that? Let's give her the old save-a-roo. We'll jump in a fucking hole again. Got another staircase. Not nearly as long as the previous staircase. There's just pipes in the wall pumping in fog. Fog machines built into the walls. We got stabbed by Pyramid Head last time we played too.
Because he was just down there.
Yeah, we like basically went into what I guess is his house because we went into a room and got the great knife. But then he was like prowling around out there with his spear and he stabbed us. All right, this is probably gonna be something awful. Oh, yeah. What's up, Eddie?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like? You always busted my balls. You fat, disgusting piece of shit. You make me sick. Fat ass, you're nothing but a waste of skin.
Camera work in this scene.
You're so ugly, even your mama don't love you.
So he's doing Def Jam poetry.
Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh. From now on, if anyone makes fun
When you
of
get a
me,
second, Tirith has requested the game sound gets turned up.
Okay.
Eddie, have you gone nuts? I knew it. You too. You're just like him, James. Hey, I didn't mean anything. Don't bother. I understand. You've been laughing at me all along, haven't you? Ever since we first met. I'll kill you, James.
Took that bullet like a champ,
He
huh?
really did. Let me fix that audio right quick before we have our little fucking Wild West shootout here.
Before you blast Eddie's little hat off with a shotgun blast.
I don't know how much it takes to kill Eddie.
Well, if we go by stereotypical corpulent enemy rules in video games, a lot.
Probably true. Is
How do I make my living room look like this? And also, can this just be cold? Like, can this just be like cold air it's pumping in?
well, I think it's a freezer, so I think it is. Is that any better, Tirith? Hey.
Tyr said, yeah, that's good, and thank you. Uh-huh.
Ah, fuck, James. Eddie, you fat piece of shit.
There you go. Yeah, I did essentially just ask to live in a meat locker. It's my natural habitat.
That-
My natural habitat.
My natural inhabitat.
My brain ain't been working great today.
That's fine. Man, we had a miserable night trying to sleep. Hot.
Mm-hmm. So hot. You were considering buying, like, restaurant order amount?
Well, you don't gotta tell people that. Yeah, but yeah, no, I was looking at how to buy a gallon and a half of vegan gelato online today.
Do you know what it does to you, James? When you're hated, picked on, spit on, just because of the
Kicked
way
and
you
hit with
look,
shit every time you sung.
and laughed at your whole friggin' life. That's why I ran away after I killed the dog. Ran away like a scared little girl. Yeah, I killed that dog. It was fun. It
think it's okay to kill people? You need help, Eddie.
Don't get all holy on me, James. This town called you too. You and me are the same. We're not like other people. Don't you know that? Let's party!
You fucker. Yeah, punch me. Oh, he killed me. I think his fist does more damage than the fucking gun. We should hit him with the great knife, right?
Yeah, that'll probably be worth it. You really gonna drag this fucking knife down this hallway?
Oh, I forgot about the hallway. That's gonna take forever, huh? Let's not do that. I wonder if it's quicker just to use the handgun on him.
I don't know.
I wonder if that'll cancel out his shots. Maybe we should try that.
Need the ceremonial dagger like in Homecoming.
Yeah.
Which was so fast it broke the game.
Oh, no, it does not. It doesn't stagger him.
Yeah. Tirith is pointing out that Silent Hill basically removed Eddie from general population.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore, did society a favor.
Still damaged? Is it really bad? Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, like, I guess that's the thing is, like...
There's bullets right there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I didn't think we saw him last time.
No,
My bad.
I got him.
I'm sorry, I interrupted your
Oh,
thought.
no, you're fine. I mean, we're here probably because we killed somebody, and Eddie's here because he killed somebody.
And a dog. Probably more the dog than the people, right?
Well, it doesn't sound like he actually killed anybody in his normal life. He did just kill the dog, and he shot somebody else.
yeah, but I
don't
think
know.
it's the lack of remorse
Yeah.
is probably the bigger factor for him.
So, like, is Angela here because she killed her dad?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if we... Do we even see Angela again?
I don't think so.
Amanda!
Oh, fuck. The meat.
That's me.
That is you.
I look just like this. Where's he going?
I don't know. You fucker. Eddie, I hate your ass. Wait, this fight just sucks. Like, he's really fast.
We're fighting a dude in a meat locker. That's what's up.
Oh! I got him. Can you take that gun?
Eddie? Eddie? I killed a
Oh, according to the fandom. Okay.
human being.
A human being. Look at Eddie's stupid little shorts. He should have sandals on. Don't you think he should have socks and sandals on?
No, because he's not supposed to look like a man. He's supposed to look like an overgrown child. I feel like the sock and sandal look is more like a, dad on vacation.
Ah, fair enough.
3 years ago?
Amanda.
Yeah, Tirith said, according to the fandom wiki, it said that after murdering her father and brother with the same bloody knife, Angela takes it with her and, as if it has sentimental value to her along to Silent Hill.
Good for her.
So I guess that's the knife you take from her. Because it's not 100% clear where she got the knife from.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way you feel about it, obviously, is like she's come to this place to kill herself. So I feel
Yeah.
like the most obvious conclusion would be she's gone into this place and found a knife.
Well, he's looking at Eddie, but you can't pick at the gun. So.
I think you stand it directly on top of the gun and try to pick.
Yeah, it's not working.
Like, the knife doesn't have anything unique written about it, does it?
The knife? Knife from Angela. I don't plan on using this as a weapon. Yeah, it's just... it's got blood on it. You're not going to use it. I don't know what it's for.
Is it supposed to mirror the great knife?
Maybe.
Does Angela not see Pyramid Head because her kills were justified?
Maybe.
Ugh, this camera!
Yeah. Here, water. I think we're at Toluca Lake.
David here as well.
David!
Where there's an Amanda, there is a David.
It's accurate. It's true. Yeah, like I feel like the implication with James, though, is like he's here because he feels guilty.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to do with, like, the moral implication. So, like, I don't feel like Eddie would be here because he has no remorse. Like, feel like he would have to have remorse.
Well, I mean, Pyramid Head is just supposed to depict punishment, correct? Like judgment and punishment.
I guess.
So I feel like if that's all he represents, it doesn't matter how the person feels about their action.
Well,
But I mean, again, I think all of this is supposed to be interpretation.
Yeah.
So you can probably,
I guess
twist it whatever way makes sense to you.
the rules don't have to be, like, hard and fast, I guess.
Yeah, it's not Bird Box.
What?
Bird Box.
What about Bird Box?
You have the rules. You can't look at them. You got to have birds in a box to tell you when they're nearby.
I hate that movie.
I don't like it either. I hate it even more than A Quiet Place.
Yeah, A Quiet Place is decent. Bird Box was dumb. I don't remember this from any of the playthroughs I've seen it. You gotta row this fucking boat. They have to fight the lake monster from Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. David wants us to help them come up with a UFC nickname for Tuna Roll.
Give me a precedent. Give me some...
Yeah, I can't think of any dudes who have a nickname. They always just have their last name.
like what's some UFC nicknames that already exist? Yeah, I guess we're rowing to the hotel. I don't. I can't even tell that we're moving.
Yeah, you probably aren't. Amanda's linked us to a fucking article. We got the axe murderer.
That doesn't even make sense because you can't use an axe in UFC, can you? I mean, you can't just take an axe into the ring. An axe is not a martial art.
Also, David said that, Tuna Roll keeps bringing up half-dead mice from the basement.
Am I supposed to be looking for that light or something? Like, I don't know what to do.
Uncle Creepy.
Uncle Creepy is probably the worst UFC name I've ever heard. Oh, there's the light. I think that's where I need to go.
Well, I'm sorry, but American Psycho's already taken. The Polish Experiment.
The Polish Experiment.
Butterbean! This dude's nickname is Scary Nickname.
That's pretty good.
Oh, David says the nickname's up for grabs because the dude died last year.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a dude on the list named Ginger with the intent to injure.
Ginger with the intent to injure. Tuna Roll is going to have the UFC nickname Sashimi Bocho, which means sashimi knife, which is the sushi knife.
Mmm.
So it's topical. He gets in there, he cuts through the competition. He's exact. He's clinical, like a sushi chef.
I love this pose James does.
Yeah.
He just puts his hands on his hips. Like, my basement ain't got no business looking like this.
Like, it looks like he's surveying his yard. Like, yep, got my grass cut. This place hasn't changed at all.
It was just as densely fogged when we were here before. Tuna's getting into the crawl space and finding moles as well.
Oh, little mole action. Are there any items that I can pick up? Are you looking at something? Yeah, what are you looking at? Oh yeah, what's that? The Little Mermaid music box. Okay. What we got over here? There's a fountain in the shape of a bird. No water's coming out of it. Music box with figure from the fairy tale The Little Mermaid attached, found at the garden fountain. Okay.
Colleen.
Colin. Good old colander. Squeezing out all the pasta water.
Colin just made a raw-ass vampiric bowel movement.
Well, I mean, I can't.
I would see a doctor if you had a vampiric bowel movement.
Yeah. What is this?
It's a map. You can't have it.
I can't have. What do you mean I can't have this map? It's a map. It's brightly colored in this dim ass hallway. What is happening here? This seems wrong. Oh, wait. I know.
Oh yeah, your lights. The map you could clearly see. You can't take unless your light is on.
Yeah. All right. So got a map of Lakeview Hotel, 3rd floor, waiting for you in room 312. That's the room Mary and I stayed in. James, you're a dense motherfucker. Mary, are you there? Or maybe. I got the hotel map for guests.
Ghost Blade have arrived.
Ghost Blade. So what floor are we on? Alright, we're on the 1st floor. So I guess okay, this goes down to a little lobby that's like lower than the 1st floor. That's weird.
Lobby pit.
I guess we'll go down here, see what's up. Like, is this the lobby?
Oh, Tyr says if we ever visit Washington, she'll take us to Midwich, which is the school that
What
the
school?
first game has.
The one from Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Can't get into these bathrooms.
You gotta shit on the floor.
Got a shit on the floor. A vase here. It's not something I can use right now.
Well, you're gonna have to piss and shit in it because you can't get into the toilet.
I suppose you're right. Little barrel. What do they put in that little barrel?
Bananas.
For who?
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong ain't in this game. What if they
You
put...
don't think Donkey Kong has committed crimes he should be punished for, Silent Hill style?
I do think that. Do you think they'll put James Sunderland in Smash?
They should.
I got a can of thinner. Like paint thinner? Small can filled with thinner. It was lying in the elevator. Okay.
So it's important to remember it was in the elevator.
Look at this picture. Is this a picture on the wall? Not important, I guess.
Tyr says, you can also visit the Goonies house.
I think this is a bar called Venus Tears.
And Tirith, if you ever visit here, we can take you to see Vulcan's ass.
Yes.
Maybe the Space and Rocket Center.
Space and Rocket Center's in fucking Huntsville.
Yeah, but it's still in the state.
I ain't driving to fucking Huntsville. Mr. James Sunderland.
Hmm? Laughing about your mom?
What did my mom say?
She said, do you think that's the Space and Rocket Center?
Okay, yeah. We drove through Huntsville one time and we passed a literal fucking space shuttle that they've got parked.
I'm pretty sure it says Rocket Center on it.
Regardless of what it says, you know, it was a literal space shuttle. Like, I'm not talking about like a statue of one or a small version
Yeah, it's just a
of one.
decommissioned shuttle that they have on display.
The decommissioned shuttle, and my mom looks at it and goes, "Do you think that's where the Space and Rocket Center is?" And my dad's like, "Well, Pat, there's a fucking rocket ship over there, so probably."
You can ride the G-Force spinning thing, puke your guts out.
Mr. Sunderland, the videotape you forgot here is being kept in the office on the 1st floor. Got a sexy little videotape.
David says he loves your mom, and I assume the next thing he's going to say is she's like butter.
Love you, Mom. She's like butter. There's a bell here. If I ring it, I don't think anyone will come. Yeah, probably not, James.
Also, David is reminiscing about the time your mom saw a dude with an eye patch on the side of the road and asked your dad if that was a pirate.
She did. She did do that. This was not a man that was dressed in a nautical way. He just had an eye patch. Like a medical eye patch, because he had obviously had some kind of operation or something. She said, "Is that a fucking pirate?" And my dad said, "No, it's
Weren't
not."
they in a car? Didn't he nearly wreck?
Well, I mean, he didn't nearly wreck, but that's how he would like to tell it. So that's locked up. I got a key to room 312, which is perhaps where my dead wife is waiting. Gift shop. Oh, we can't get in the gift shop.
I would love to go to the Silent Hill gift shop.
You like a gift shop?
It's fun, but it's always overpriced.
Yeah, gift shops make me feel awkward.
Literally, the only shit I have from gift shops is when your parents took us places and your dad forced me to get stuff.
Yeah.
If your dad wouldn't let us leave places without me getting something.
Yeah, my dad liked to treat people, liked to spend money. What?
Tier says the best part is your mom doesn't know she has a whole stream full of fans.
Yeah, I've tried to explain to my mother before, like, that we do this, but she didn't really.
Why?
I don't know. Like, it just came up.
I would never explain this to anybody.
Yeah.
Mainly because my mom would be like, "Oh, well, I'll watch it."
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
no.
Well, I mean,
you ain't gonna.
That was one thing, is I knew my mom wouldn't get it enough to, like, want to, like, try to watch it or anything. But, yeah, she just, I don't even, oh, fuck! Even then, she just didn't understand it enough. She calls it podcasting, and I'm just like, yeah, we're podcasting.
She doesn't know what podcasting is either.
I don't know.
Ghostblade is talking about their dad. Like the other day, they were telling us, he dislikes sports.
Yeah,
Because he sees it as a form of violence.
Yeah.
But okay, what Ghostblade said this time was, did I tell you I found out the other day that my dad disagrees with all forms of violence after talking to him about cheese wheel chasing?
Hey,
You're gonna
hold
have
up.
to tell him
Hey.
that's not an American thing.
Hey, yeah, let's pump the fucking brakes. What is cheese wheel chasing? And how do we fucking get in on it?
We're vegan. Why would we chase a cheese wheel?
We're not
we can't
gonna
even eat it.
Well, we're not gonna eat it.
You're
We're
gonna
just-
run for something you're not gonna fucking
We're
eat.
just gonna. Is that a fat joke?
No, I'm not gonna run for something I'm not gonna fucking eat, so I don't think you are.
Yeah, you're probably right, but
I wouldn't run for something I am gonna eat. You run, you'll get too hot, and then when you eat, you'll get sick.
oh, that's true. You don't want to be too hot when you eat, especially much cheese. Cheese wheel chaser sounds like a really bad homophobic slur. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, oh, he's a cheese wheel chaser, but I don't really know what it would mean.
You chase a wheel of cheese down a hill. It's very steep, so everyone falls over constantly in extremely painful ways.
That sounds delightful. That sounds wonderful. How big of a wheel of cheese? Does it ruin the cheese? Or is
Well, I mean,
is
if it's in that thick wax coating,
yeah, like
it should be cool.
Is it in wax? Can you eat the cheese?
Brie cheese.
Oh, I don't like.
Oh no, sorry, Ghostblade and Elminster have the same color. I
Oh.
miss.
So that they look alike because they have the same colors. I would probably say.
Ghostblade says it improves the flavor.
It improves it.
What's your...
Isn't brie that cheese that I don't like?
Yeah, you did not like brie. I liked brie.
Wasn't a fan.
Oh, Tirith has sent a picture or a video, one of them moving pictures.
One of them moving pictures. Oh my god! Look at the cheese there. No fucking way you're gonna catch that. Oh, I like these slow-mo shots. The Cooper Seal cheese rolling and wake. Who's the wake for? Does somebody have to die to have the cheese wheel? Or does somebody die during the thing? I feel like one day Ghostblade's going to tell us about something like this, and it's going to straight up... Oh, piano made a noise. It's going to straight up be some Wicker Man shit.
Did I scare you?
Oh, look.
Yeah, you did.
What's her name?
Laura.
Laura.
You're here to find Mary, aren't you, James?
We've been over this.
Well, have you?
No. Is that why you
Oh, they've been doing the cheese rolling since the 1700s.
God damn.
If you know where she is, tell me. I'm tired of walking.
Oh, this one dude has won 20 times in a
I
row.
wish I knew.
What?
She said it in her letter.
What letter?
Wanna read it? But don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She was our nurse. I took it from her locker.
Laura has given us a letter that she stole. My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now. I'm in a quiet, beautiful place. Please forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left. Be well, Laura. Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James. I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me, but please give him a chance. It's true he may be a little surly sometimes. He doesn't laugh much, but underneath he's really a sweet person. Laura, I love you like my very own daughter. If things had worked out differently, I was hoping to adopt you. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend forever, Mary.
Laura, how old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
So, Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. That's why I'm here. Maybe you'll get it if you see the other letter. The one Mary... Huh? I must have dropped it.
Laura!
I gotta find it.
Laura!
Yeah, obviously Laura was in the hospital with Mary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laura may or may not be living at this point. We're not sure. There's a piano here. I remember how much Mary liked to play the piano. The piano. She drew a cat. A drawing done by Laura. A cat. Look at it.
Oh, it looks bad. Like, with her in the middle of it, I could not tell what it was. Is it wearing pants?
Yeah, I guess. It's really cute.
Okay, Ghostblade would like to point out that the event is held in a place called Cheddar, which is where the first scene of Helsing is.
That's true. It's in a village in Cheddar. Yeah, they're abstract daddies in this hallway now. I'm not okay with that. Fuck.
Yeah, the manga and anime Helsing are supposed to take place in Britain, and like the very first sequence of events happens in Cheddar. It's not a cheese chasing.
It's not. It's not. It's not cheese chasing.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, we could avoid those guys. That would probably be good. It's a rectangular indentation. There's a plate in front of the indentation, and something is engraved on it. Seat of the princes who awoke from death. Play the music box. Sure. Doesn't sound quite right. Is the music box broken, or maybe?
Yeah, you couldn't examine it, could you?
I didn't try. Oh, like this is a music box.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were talking about the one you picked
Yeah,
up.
so like I did look at the one I picked up, and it just says, it's a music box. I don't know. I don't remember what this puzzle does, but obviously I can put these into it. Put the Little Mermaid music box down. Play the music box.
So you gotta get 2 more?
Probably. It's all fucked up. Can't get out of here, right? Can't leave that. Okay. We got a safe spot here. So let's do that.
Indoor ashtray.
What?
There's a trash can right there, but it's got like the ashtray section on top.
Alright, let's go upstairs. What are you looking at?
I think he's just looking at the music box.
I guess so. Can we look at this? No.
Why you want to be fucking examining things? This game is about shooting.
Call of Duty Silent Hill. There's a lot of fucking doors here.
Well, don't worry, most of them don't work.
There's something awful in there.
Yeah, we've never played through this game ourselves. We've watched a couple of playthroughs, but it's been a while since we watched them, so we don't remember it terribly well. Like, I remember that hanging puzzle pretty well, and I feel like the mini-boss fight with the abstract daddy is really vivid in a lot of people's memories. So you use a key to open a suitcase to get another key.
Yeah. Had to use the fish key. There was a fish in the percolator. Man, there's a lot of ammunition around here.
Yeah, I'm also kind of scared for the remake. Like, I think Eidolon is staying hopeful, but I'm never going to have hope for Silent Hill ever again.
The remake of this game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel like remakes are pretty much going to be on the level. It's new stuff that I think could fail miserably. There's a book here. It doesn't look like it would be of any particular use. But yeah, I think the remake might be decent. It's just one of those things where I feel like they'd have to try to really fuck it up, but who knows? But I also know that Ghostblade doesn't really like I think a lot of times they prefer more retro graphics and stuff in games. So a remake that just sort of updates the graphics and stuff isn't really going to do much for them.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to feel anything about it until I see the monsters. Because, you know, monsters are the best part of Silent Hill, in my opinion. The
Right.
monsters, the rusty shit, and, like, it was all just sort of dark. And, like, they showed off James's model a little bit, and I feel like that's all they really showcased. And, I mean, I feel like they made him look not substantially different, but different in ways I don't understand. Like, they gave him longer hair and shit. Didn't they?
I think you're right, yeah. I mean, again, though, like, the monster designs are so iconic, it would be really dumb to fuck them up, but
Yeah.
who knows?
And, like, I mean, you know, talking about stylized graphics, because, like, I don't even think of games like this as stylized. They were style limited. It's just now that limitation of style
is an aesthetic.
Yeah, it's an aesthetic, and, like, you know, I like that a lot. So, like, you know, it's different from, like, this, and you get a modern game, and it's more realistic graphics versus like, you know, Banjo-Kazooie, and they make hyper-realistic Banjo-Kazooie on a modern console. That would be fucking insane.
When are they gonna do that? I want to play hyper-realistic Banjo-Kazooie.
And, like, you know, I think Ghostblade and I have similar opinions about that, where it's like, you know, when you make everything just realistic graphics, they all blend together a lot.
Yeah, I get that. Nope. Do not, please stop.
Wait, let me look at the map.
Like, you and I talk about that a lot, because, like, you know, we have different opinions on art in terms of that a lot, because, like, for, like, comic books and stuff, a lot of the time I prefer more realistic art, and you don't.
Yeah, like, for real, the way I feel about it is if it's realistically drawn, I might as well just look at photos.
Yeah.
Like, why bother wasting your time and energy and ruining your wrist drawing something that's realistic? Just go take a fucking photo.
Yeah. And, like, I don't feel that way, but
You better stomp on him.
I can't. He's dead.
Oh, okay. And, like, you know, realistic graphics aren't going to make me not play a game if it's something that I'm interested in. But, I mean, I guess I don't think of Silent Hill's graphics being the stylization in it that I appreciate. I appreciate the aesthetic choices, like, you know, monster design and color schemes and environment design.
Yeah. I mean,
And music.
music for sure. Like, I just really love the tone of Silent Hill. Like, you know, like, I like all kinds of horror. Like, there's no specific kind of horror that I absolutely hate, but Silent Hill, as far as my personal horror preferences, it nails everything pretty good with the first few games.
Yeah, I mean, the tone is, of course, important to me, and I feel like that's what they're most likely to fuck up.
That is a good point.
Is that just a rock in the bed over there?
I don't know what it is. I was trying to see it better. I think it might be a piece of plaster. Yeah. Because there's, like, a hole in the wall.
Cousin. The catchphrase of the protagonist of GTA 4.
Do we know what this is?
I don't think we have any clue for this one, but, I mean, if you want to look through your memos...
I think this is just, yeah, that's just saying where the where the tape is.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd found a hint, but you pick up a ton of info in this game, so it's very easy to forget some of it.
Photos. Photos are scattered all over the bed. What's this? Uh-oh. Part of the photo has been colored over with a marker. So that's a picture of the, Oh, but I have paint thinner.
I used the book thinner.
Dark. I was close. Dick.
Did you try dork? Oh, you tried dick.
Yeah. We got the Cinderella music box. Okay, so we did that. We checked the cloakroom, got something out of there. See, let's go put this music box in.
I mean, you say older games are always going to be cheaper, but it really depends. Like, if you're willing to pirate, then yeah, it's always going to be cheaper. But if you want physical copies of shit, they can get pricey.
What's going on down here now?
And some companies are so against uploading digital versions of games. Mostly Nintendo. I feel like a lot of other games, when there's demand for them, the companies will put them.
Nintendo's getting a lot better about it. Even though I know you still don't like sort of the structure they've put in place to get their virtual console stuff.
I think you're not standing in the exact right position.
I think you have to switch them out. No, I'm not sure. It's weird. Are you looking up how much Silent Hill 2 costs?
Mm-hmm. Oh, brand new for $300.
Yeah. It's
Like,
not crazy expensive.
this one says artwork only, and it's $60. Like, all these top ones are artwork only,
Yeah.
and it's 50 to $60, and then the one that has
Disc.
the game is $90. But then here's one that's just the disc, and it's 96.
Yeah, but what you got to do is you got to look at what's actually sold. You can't go by what people are trying to charge here. I know there were some stairs that went up somewhere. Guess they're back there. Yeah, like at the bottom here. Scroll down.
Yeah, I was trying to find my cursor.
Or filters. Or yeah, I'm sorry, no, yeah, sold items was there actually. Oh yeah, no, people are paying $100 for an in-box copy of Silent Hill 2. I have Silent Hill 2 for PS2 in a box with the manual and everything. Know how much I paid for it?
How much?
Nothing.
Where did it come from?
It came from the Lukey Games, which is that online game store that I buy stuff from sometimes if I do buy physical copies. And they do like a rewards program. First of all, I think their prices are fairly on the level. Um, and that is to say that some of their stuff is pricey because it's worth a lot. Um, but they do a rewards program, and like however much you spend, you get points back, and you can redeem those points for things, including a lot of games, a lot of retro games. And at the point that I had enough points, Silent Hill 2 was there in like mint condition in a box and everything, and I got it completely for free.
Nice. And yeah, Ghostblade, Tirith is not making that up. There's like, honestly, a sort of popularity to, nerd culture. So like games, like retro gaming and stuff, they're games that are, older than us that you'd have to pay tons of money to get a physical copy of.
Am I an idiot?
Also, Tirith worked in a game store, so she'd know.
Like, I went somewhere and I saw stairs that went up, but I don't see them now.
Did you? No, it's changed.
Yeah, when I launched the game, it said .hack. I apologize for that.
Thank you for joining us anyway, Starspawn. I know it's a hassle to watch Silent Hill.
Star Spawn. I gotta focus. I'm running around in circles up here.
I wonder if you're confusing the conversion rate. Because
Well,
the American dollar is less valuable than a lot of currencies right now, right?
Yeah,
Like it's just decreasing in value.
Well, I think just in general, for a while now, the dollar has been less valuable than the euro and the pound. But I'm not exactly sure what the conversion rate is. All right, so I found stairs, but they don't actually go anywhere.
We're trying to explain to Ghostblade that physical copies of retro games in America are not cheaper than modern games anymore.
Yeah, like they really have gone up. Like that's not to say everything is like every game has gone up, but like retro RPGs are pretty expensive now.
Yeah, like Tira said, it's collectible items. So like there's a demand for it and it's not being made anymore.
Right.
Ghostblade says there's a bid for Silent Hill 2 on UK eBay starting at 99
Yeah,
cents.
but I mean,
like yeah, that's where it's going to start.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff starts at 99 cents, but it's like you got to look at like what's actually sold. So there's if you search for something on eBay, in the little sidebar where you can filter stuff, near the bottom there's going to be a thing you can check, and it says sold copies or sold items rather. And if you click that, it will show you recently sold stuff that's in that search category, and you can actually see what people paid for those items.
Where did that dude come from?
He's just roaming
Oh,
around.
you just
out
walked
here.
into this room.
Yes.
Look at this asshole.
He killed me. I don't know where I'm supposed to go, and these guys are really making it difficult down here, and now I don't know what progress I just lost.
I mean, you probably did get some games for way cheaper years ago.
Yeah.
But, like, that price fluctuates constantly. Like, this time next year, it could drop it to half.
Yeah, like, that's another thing is collectibles go up and down a lot. Like the comic book industry, or comic book collecting is like that as well. Yeah, see, the whole top floor, I fucked up. Because, like,
Ooh, Starspawn says they inherited a bunch of old NES games from a guy who used to keep them in their original boxes, even with inner plastic bags and instruction books, and put them on eBay and made a mint.
that's fucking excellent. Yeah, I mean, most of the retro stuff I have, I did not pay much for because I just, have never had the funds to pay much for anything. I think the most expensive retro game I've bought is probably Final Fantasy One on NES, and I think I paid $45 for it at the time, and that was close to a decade ago, probably. If probably a decade ago, yeah.
Oh yeah, Ghostblade saying now that they're actually looking, they bought Persona around like 25. Which symbol is this? Is this the pound or the euro?
That's the pound.
That's the
They're
pound.
they're
Okay.
they're in they're in the UK, which is
I don't know where people have what fucking currencies. I've never understood any of that. Because I would think if you're in Europe, you're gonna use the euro.
well, the UK is not part of the European
God,
Union anymore.
I hate.
They Brexited.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
And I don't think they ever switched to the euro to begin with. I don't think that was ever a thing that was finished.
And now there are almost no copies listed, and
Yeah.
there's like odd ones that sold for 100 or 80 pounds, and they're just the disc.
Yeah. It fluctuates rapidly, and it's part of it is like the uptick in nerd culture over the last 10 years with Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and Marvel movies and all that shit. So like
Yeah, it used to be a smaller group of people who wanted this shit, and now there's a bigger group, which means you can put a higher price tag on it.
Plus, there are more people in the pool, so there are more people buying and reselling at higher prices.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Because, some people are going to get into this, and then next year they're not going to care anymore, but they're going
Yeah.
to see the prices are still high.
yeah. I don't like how fast these guys are.
Yeah, they're a little faster than I would like for them to be as well. And again, yeah, when it's collectible, like ones that people have interest in, the price is going to be higher. But I'm sure you could find like some random games for
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Because
like-
you can get lots of NES games,
Yeah.
and they'll be nothing of value. Half of them won't work.
Yeah, I mean, like nobody's gonna pay for like NES football out the ass or anything, unless it's like mint in box and shit like that. Collectors who want like complete collections might pay a little more for it. But like I've got a bunch of PS2 games and I didn't pay much for any of them.
You got a ton of Dreamcast games.
I do. I have a shit ton of Dreamcast games since I paid somebody $25 I used to work with for a Dreamcast and a wallet full of discs for the Dreamcast.
Might want to heal yourself. It looked like you were in the red.
Yeah. What are you looking at,
It's
James?
that key. I thought he did the dialogue, but didn't pick it up. Will it let you do this even if you haven't solved?
Yeah, probably. Fuck. Fuck! We got Cinderella box.
But do you think it's only going to take one music box and you don't think either of these is it?
I'm not sure. What did I just do?
think you healed
Oh,
yourself?
okay, that's fine. I was trying to do this because I just want it out of my inventory.
Also, yeah, if you buy shit at a store, depending on the store, the price may be
Yeah,
way lower.
yeah, like having something already in a store, you're not paying shipping fees, and you're buying from what is a less competitive market since it's right in front of you. It's going to be a lot more expensive than buying it online, which is an infinite market basically.
And I feel like even if you go to little like flea malls and shit around here, these people have caught on as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
You can't find shit for dirt cheap out there anymore. They're
Like-
like, oh, this is a video game. You have to pay me $20 for this random
Yeah.
no-name NES cartridge I found in my basement that's water damaged, the label's gone.
Like when we were growing up, there were two flea market kind of things right by our house, or right by where the area where we lived. And yeah, you could go in and you could buy like old video games, and specifically, I bought. And David remembers this, comic books there, and like the dude that sold comic books was like he sold dollar comics. It was just bins and bins of dollar comics, and it's really really hard to find that now, and I miss that a lot. Comic book stores will still have dollar bins, but the places around here don't have that anymore. And
Most of the comic shops aren't even around here anymore either, right?
I mean, yeah, there's no comic shop in our local area, but there's some a little further out. But when I was a kid, there was one, in the city that we live in now.
Yeah.
But it closed. It was a card shop and a comic shop.
Yeah. And now it's an H&R Block.
Now it's an H&R Block. Yeah. But yeah, there used to be like comic book dollar bins there, and like it was stuff stretching from like Copper Age and Modern Age stuff. So it was like late 70s into the 2000s, but still not too bad. Like you go in there with $20 and get a whole stack of really cool comics. But now if you go to these same places, people don't really know what they have, but they know that they're comics, and they know comics are popular. Comics are getting expensive again.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there was a big problem in the 90s. There the comic book industry was fucked up, and there was a comic book boom, and it caused a lot of damage to comic book worth. But even stuff from the 90s now can be kind of pricey. It's really interesting. But yeah, if you go to these places now, you're probably going to pay like $3 to $5 per comic instead of $1. And a lot of it's not worth anything really, but it's just, that's what people put the prices at now.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of the people selling this shit aren't collectors in most of these places,
That's accurate,
They're
yeah.
just people who've been left with somebody's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, David's pointing out that flea mall isn't even open anymore.
Yeah, they shut down.
Even though there's something being sold there every time we go past it, and they haven't, like, built anything new or
What do you mean
opened-
being sold there? Like in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've always had people like selling shit in the parking lot out of trucks and stuff.
Mostly flowers for
Yeah,
fucking
Fucking
graves.
funeral or
Decoration.
decoration flowers. We have that fucking southern, I don't know if the people do that in the other parts of the country here, but we have like southern decoration where people go out and decorate graves. So everybody stocks up on funeral flowers, or they could be like your late aunt who stole funeral flowers off of graves. All right, this room I could not get into before. Memos hanging here, nothing interesting.
You
Shelf.
didn't even open it. Like, I don't think you can open it, it's just... He just said it's empty without even opening it. How far back is the save point?
It's downstairs.
Uh,
It's fine. I just want to make sure that I get through all the rooms here again before I save, because I don't want to lose the progress again, Okay, like, what's going on with this elevator, though?
Tierra says I have to say the last part about the aunt and why she stole them. Because she said other people would steal them.
Yeah, she's a miserable little bitch, that's why.
So she said she was taking them for safekeeping because other people would steal them.
She's a piece of shit.
And she's dead now.
And she's dead now, so it's fine. There's something written over the button. What's this? One person. I am one person.
Starspawn says randos used to come into the comic store they worked at and tried to sell stuff thinking they had something valuable. They'd be like, I have this copy of the Return of Superman, and, and they'd have to be like, so I don't like that comic and I own 4 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, like 90s comic boom shit is really fucking funny and sad, and it's a really interesting topic. Because, like, the comic book industry fucking devoured itself in the 90s. And, you know, you still see the ramifications of that today in the industry with, like, the way they do. They still do variant covers and stuff like that, and incentive covers and stuff. It's wacky.
Would you like to summarize the 90s comic boom? Because Ghostblade is asking what happened exactly.
And I mean, maybe I'm sure Star Spawn could probably add color to this as well. But basically, in the 80s and early 90s, so like, okay, comic books.
Star Spawn said, please no.
All right, so like, I'm gonna take a break for a second. I'm gonna use the bathroom in a minute.
You did save, right?
Yeah, saved.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, there's ages to comic books. So there's the Platinum Age, which is anything from like the third. And I'm gonna say this slightly wrong, but you'll get the idea. There's the Platinum Age, which is anything that's like 30s to 50s. Then there's the Golden Age, which is 40s to 50s. Starspawn said, please explain the Spider Clone saga while you eat my shit. So yeah, there's Platinum Age, which is very old books. We're talking probably 1920s to 1940s, really. Golden Age is 1945 to 1965. Silver Age is like 65 to 75. Copper Age is 75 to maybe 90s, and then everything 90s till today is considered basically modern age. Or there might
because they haven't advanced.
Well,
since then.
there actually might be a bronze and a copper age. It gets kind of weird in there, but the point is that much like we see now, where there's an uptick in attention being paid to nerd culture, in the late 80s, early 90s, and I don't know exactly, I can't name every factor that led to this, but there were several factors that led to a huge boom in the comic book industry. Comic books got a lot more popular with kids and adults. People that grew up reading comics were still into them. There were several... as comic book reselling became more of a thing, there were several large comic book finds that happened where people who bought and resold comics at conventions started. That's another thing. People that bought and resold comics at these newfound conventions were actively hunting for comics to buy and sell, and there's a website you can actually go look at for this, because there are pedigrees to comics. So there were several people in this era who found famous collections. So it's like one of the most famous ones is the Mile High Collection, which is what started the company called Mile High Comics, which is still a comic book company now. But basically this dude who was, just buying and selling comics by mail order at conventions and shit, got a lead that there was an old lady who wanted to sell some comics that her late husband had collected, and he rolls up to this house, and she takes him down to the fucking basement, and it's like...
It murders him, the end.
Yeah, she takes him down to the basement, and it is completely full of golden age fucking comics, like comics that are worth a lot of money and are worth that are worth a lot of money and are very rare. That's the thing you have to remember, is these comics are rare, and that's why they're worth a lot of money. And they're rare because Golden Age and Platinum Age comics were destroyed en masse when they were produced. So they were produced in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. What's going on in the 30s and the 40s and 50s? The Great Depression's going on. The World War II is going on. So people are buying comics, not treating them like they do today, which is as like a piece of media that you want to protect, but rather They're just treating them as a magazine that you might throw away. In the 30s, you recycle paper, do all kinds of shit with it. In the 40s, there are massive drives to recycle paper for the war effort. So all of these comics from this era, this golden era, and this is also the era where all of the major comic book characters are being created. Batman's being created, Green Lantern's being created, Superman's being created. Some of the older Marvel stuff like Captain America is being created and Human Torch is being created. All of this shit is printed en masse, because comic books used to be printed in way bigger runs than they're printed now. But they're also heavily, heavily destroyed in the process of the war effort and just time passing and people not really considering them as art. So anyway, you roll around to the 70s and 80s, and these comics are really rare, and people are really starting to get into them. There are some discoveries of some really big collections, like the Mile High collection, which is again where this dude goes into this basement and finds this old lady's late husband's collection, and it's I want to say it's described as basically 2 or 3 copies each of every comic produced from around 1935 to around 1950. Because they were relatively cheap if you had money, and this guy had money, and he liked the art and shit, and he was a collector, which was a rare thing at that point in time, but it's just what he liked. So he would buy 2 or 3 copies of every comic that came out. He kept them in pristine condition. It's a literal fucking gold mine. So this dude buys all these comics and sells them and starts a comic book company based on it. And this happened several times with him and with other people. So all of a sudden there's a huge uptick in the speculator market. Everybody's like hunting these books down. Conventions are starting up. All this is getting more popular. 80s culture comes around and pop culture starts getting a lot more popular. Late 80s, the Batman movie comes out, and that makes comics way more accessible to people that weren't typically into comics.
Why the Batman movie encouraged anyone to read comics, we can't tell you.
The Batman movie's fine. It's fine. So anyway, all of that's going on in the 70s and 80s. And then in the 90s, comics are like booming. Like, people are really into comics. We've got some movies that have come out. Companies are starting to see that these collectors are buying based on speculation. So that's like, they know this old stuff was worth money. It is worth money now. So they're thinking, okay, if I buy a bunch of comics now, 20, 30, 40 years from now, they'll be worth a lot of money. So,
just like Beanie Babies.
Just like Beanie Babies. So buying comics now is an investment in my future. Buying new comics is an investment in my future. So, first of all, they start overrunning a lot of these comics that people are buying up. They start incentive covers. They start a shit ton of new series. Like, I think at its peak, like X-Men in the 90s, like coming into the 90s, probably had like 12 different titles running at one time, like 12 different X-Men books or associated books. Everything's got like a cardstock cover or a holographic cover. Everything's a first issue, because first issues are obviously going to be worth a lot of money one day, because the first issues from the 50s are worth a lot of money. So if I buy a first issue in 1990, it's going to be worth a lot of money in 2020. It's not. But that's kind of changing. So people start doing this. There's huge collector markets going on, speculation going on. None of it really amounts to anything. Everything kind of falls through because the people invest all this money, and it's not really worth much, a decade down the line, because everybody's got a copy of it. Like Starspawn was saying, one of the big things during this era in the 90s was the death and return of Superman. Those are really like prestige packaged comic books. It was a really big event. Everybody's got like a couple of copies of it though. So who are you going to sell it to? There is no market for it. Everybody bought a copy when it came out, thinking they were going to make big bucks on it later. One of the really funny things that happened during this comic book explosion was that Marvel Comics, who was doing really well and stretching themselves very thin, when this collector market started to dip because people realized that they weren't going to get a return on their investment, Marvel almost... this is one of the reasons I was going to say it's sad, is Marvel almost went out of business. And, you know, maybe that's not a sad thing. Maybe they should have gone out of business. But I like Marvel. I didn't used to like Marvel, but I really do like Marvel now. And I'm glad they're not out of business. But they almost went bankrupt to the point that companies like Fantagraphics, who is an under... You know, at the time, definitely, they were an underground comic book publisher. They're still around today. They still do underground and independent comics, but they're a little more highbrow than you might think when you think underground comics. But, like, they actually had to do a benefit, like a comic book benefit charity thing for Marvel to help keep them afloat. Because, like, these little companies that popped up, and a ton of little comic book companies popped up at this time, they didn't want this huge company Marvel to fail because they loved them. You know, they grew up on them. So all these little companies like did charity events to keep Marvel going. It's one of the reasons that the Marvel movies are kind of hacked up. Like they're kind of getting everything back together now, but you know, Fantastic Four was owned by a different studio, Spider-Man was owned by a different studio, X-Men was owned by a different studio. And now they're kind of like getting the rights back or making deals to put all these properties back together in their cinematic universe. But one of the reasons that they were so disparately spread out, and one of the reasons, and Starspawn's going to roll his eyes probably, but one of the reasons that Stan Lee is highly regarded at Marvel, even though he's kind of a shithead, or was kind of a shithead, is that he went out during this time and sold the rights to those movies. Like, he went to Hollywood and like sold the rights to everything in the 90s so that Marvel would not go bankrupt. Like, they you know, just so they wouldn't go under. And then years later, that's why it's all sort of jumbled up with like who owns the rights to a lot of the stuff to make movies with.
That's why we can't say Scarlet Witch is Jewish.
That's why you can't call Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but I mean...
What do you mean you can't say she's Jewish?
They did not mention that at all because, you know, I guess spoiler alert, Magneto is her dad. So it was like they couldn't say that she was Magneto's daughter, so they just also didn't care about that part.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff in there, but yeah. Basically, the comic boom is just, you know, people...
You fucked up the supply and demand chain.
Yeah. Customers, fans, and the industry itself fucked it all up. Starspawn, you're absolutely right. Stan Lee gets way too much credit.
Let me introduce you to my friend Jack Kirby.
Yeah. Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, and a lot of other folks. John Romita Sr., one of the guys that just passed away. A lot of other folks did a whole lot of work. Jack Kirby and Ditko, and Steve Steranko especially, did a whole fucking lot of work in early Marvel. And Stan Lee gets all the credit because the way that shit used to work is, you know, you're in a bullpen writing with a bunch of other people, drawing storyboards and pages with a bunch of other people, and editorial puts a writer's name on it, puts an artist's name on it. It's not necessarily always going to be the exact people that did the writing and the drawing exactly. And that's just getting to the point in the 60s where they did put the names on it.
Yeah.
They didn't really do that all the time in the Golden Age. But during the Marvel, you know, the beginnings of the Marvel age in like 1963 on, they did start putting Stan Lee's name and Jack Kirby's name on stuff. but you know, a lot of that stuff that Stan Lee wrote, he didn't really. Some of that stuff he didn't really write. So like, they did a retro scripting thing in Marvel. It's called the Marvel method in early Marvel, and they still do it sometimes now, where, you know, back in the day, Jack Kirby would draw an entire Thor book. He'd draw an entire issue of Thor. He would know the story. Sometimes it would be Stan Lee saying, "Hey, what if this happens? You know, what if the story is this? Thor fights some aliens from Venus, and they look like potatoes." And then, or it could be Jack Kirby saying, you know, Thor rescues Loki, but Loki's actually playing a trick on him, or whatever. But he draws the whole book. He leaves speech bubbles in where he thinks some dialogue will probably go. But, you know, these are comic book artists. They're at the top of their game. They're telling stories with the pictures anyway. And then Stan Lee or somebody just comes in later and writes in the dialogue. But Stan Lee still gets full writing credit for that, which he didn't really write it. Ghostblade says, sorry, I may have missed something. Marvel could have gone out of business because there are so many other companies in the market. They could have gone out of business because...
they were just stretching beyond their means.
Yeah, they were stretching beyond their means with the number of titles they had and the number of books they were running, and the competition was getting big. Image Comics is a big thing here that I didn't talk about. So, Marvel and DC historically, of course, are the competition. Like, they're the only competition, really. But in the 90s, what happened was there's this artist who worked for DC for a while. He drew some cool stuff for DC. I actually recently got his one of his Batman stories because he drew Batman Year 2, which is the sequel to Year 1 by what's his name? Frank Miller.
Yeah, Miller.
But Year 2 was drawn by Todd McFarlane, who later in the 80s, late 80s, went to Marvel and started working on Spider-Man. Very famously, he worked on Spider-Man. People went ape shit for his art, loved it. He weaseled his way into getting... That's right, Starspawn's Batman has a gun on the cover of those. He weaseled his way into getting his own Spider-Man book because he didn't like what the writers that he was working under did with Spider-Man, and he was so popular he had leverage. So it's like, well, anything we put Todd's art in is going to sell. So if he wants to write his own book, let him write it. So the first Spider-Man title, not Amazing Spider-Man, not Spectacular Spider-Man, just Spider-Man, was specifically created to let Todd McFarlane write and draw the book. He was also famously always late in writing and drawing that book that he so desperately wanted. But basically, he got like a... Anyway, Todd McFarlane is a huge big shot artist at Marvel in the late 80s. And he gets in a lot of like fights with Marvel editorial. And eventually, he partners up with some other artists and writers who were very popular at the time. And I'm going to forget some of them, but it's Todd McFarlane,
Larson.
Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, and a couple of other folks whose names I'm forgetting.
I think Rob Liefeld is the biggest crime of this era of comics.
Possibly.
I hate that man succeeded in life.
Yeah. They come together and they split off from Marvel together. They all quit Marvel and they form their own company called Image Comics. And Image Comics is to my knowledge, maybe there's some smaller ones that came before, but it's the first big comic book company that is creator owned. And that means that previously, if you're working for Marvel or DC, you come in, anything you work on while you're there, you don't have the rights to, even though you wrote it and drew it. you don't have the rights to it. Even if you create a new character, you don't have the rights to it. They own it because they paid you to do that work. Image, the way Image works is, Image is the publisher's name, right? It's Image Comics. But
Yeah, I remember you had to recently look this up.
yeah, it's really weird. So like Image is like the sort of like the conglomerate that's over everything. It's an umbrella. Underneath that, all of the creators have their own comic book company. So like, for instance, I can't remember all their names, but for instance, Jim Lee had Wildstorm Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, as far as publishing rights goes, anything Jim Lee makes at Image Comics is copyright Wildstorm Comics. It's sold under the Image name, but Lee owns Wildstorm and owns all of the stuff that he makes. And it same goes for all the other guys. They all have their own personal comic book publishing rights for their own company under the Image umbrella. And McFarlane creates Spawn. Larson creates Savage Dragon. Liefeld creates a bunch of bullshit that nobody remembers.
Youngblood.
Yeah, he creates a bunch of bad, awful shit because he's a bad artist. Jim Lee creates Wildcats and Gen 13. And because of the rock star status, the booming comic industry, the excitement of this new big company by these rock star artists, Image gets really popular really quick in the 90s, and they become major competition and are still competition to this day. And they're still creator owned. Everything in Image is creator owned.
It's your Neil Gaiman.
Unless you're Neil Gaiman, it's creator owned. Not if you're Neil Gaiman, unfortunately, but yeah, David's right. That's why Spawn and Venom from Spider-Man look very similar. They both have the ectoplasm shit going on.
And then in like 2010 or around that time, he made the third Spawn, or the third Venom, I guess technically, the Haunt. Or was that even earlier than 2010?
Yeah, it was around 2009 or something
Okay.
like that. Yeah, because it was right when we were graduating high school. Because I remember we had a friend who was sort of stoked about it, and I thought that was hell. It looks like shit.
Yeah, it just looks like every other character he's created. Okay, one more thing about comics, and then you can go to the bathroom. You were talking about kids, and then you started talking about Image, and I remembered, because we started reading Spawn, this year, or was it into last year?
It was this year.
Okay, this year. And you were reading some of the fan mail that they put in the end of the issues, right? And they got a letter from a 13-year-old kid.
Yo, I wish I had access to that right now. Because yeah, there was a letter in the back of one of the early Spawn issues, and it was from a kid, and he was like, I'm 13 years old, and I love Spawn, but here's some things, Todd, Mr. McFarlane, if I can call you Todd. Here's some things you need to do to make Spawn better. Mm-hmm. What were they?
Spawn needs to spend more time in graveyards. That was my favorite one.
Spawn,
first and foremost.
Like, this kid was so adamant. He's like, Todd, Spawn is not in graveyards nearly enough for this comic book series.
Like, Spawn is about walking around in cemeteries, Todd, okay? I don't know what your vision for
like,
Spawn
Todd,
was.
he's like, Todd, you got him in alleys, you got him in office buildings.
He's like talking about his life and like his relationships and how everything's no, put him back in the cemetery.
Todd, I want to see him in a graveyard. Why aren't you drawing him in a graveyard? I'm not going to buy the book if he's not in a graveyard soon.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to say Todd McFarlane did not clown on a 13-year-old. Very, very happy to report that
Yeah.
this grown adult man didn't go, oh, you fucking stupid ass 13-year-old baby, come back to me when you've written a comic. He said, well, the problems I had with comics was that it seemed very unrealistic how superheroes solved their problems. So I want to create a world where heroes have to function within rules of reality. And it's like, okay, Todd, that's all well and good. I'm glad you didn't fucking make fun of this 13-year-old. This is about a man who came back from the dead and he's a servant of hell and he's got a living cloak.
But I think one of the things is like he was like, you know, this dude was real. He couldn't like live a double life like a superhero or something, you know.
But he could because he died. Everybody thought he was dead. He wouldn't even have to live a double life.
I guess, yeah.
But again, I would much rather this than, you know, this old letter where Todd McFarlane called a 13-year-old an idiot.
Yeah. So yeah, he was nice about it. Ghostblade says, I can relate to this kid. And Starspawn says, this kid should be the president of Image.
Yes.
Dude, he was so adamant. And I'll have to find the letter and read it, because I know he had more points, but all I can remember is that Spawn needs to be in graveyards more.
Also, you were talking about, you know, all the people under Image and everything, and I love the trajectory of Jim Lee, because he comes to Image, then he sells his imprint to DC. He's like, fuck this, actually.
Jim Lee comes to Image, creates Wildstorm Comics, which, okay, so there's Image, which has its subsidiary as Wildstorm Comics. Wildstorm has a subsidiary as Cliffhanger Comics.
Uh-huh.
It's fucking weird. But yeah, he sells all that shit to DC later.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck
He's
this.
like...
I cannot imagine being in a room with those dudes. It would be the most insufferable ego fest.
Yo, in the 90s, I bet if you were in a room with all of them working, it would just smell like a fucking teenage gym room, like locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and also, like, those guys, Rob Liefeld is the worst. Like, he's not a good artist.
No, and he hasn't improved. Like, you know, if he had...
He has not improved. Eric Larson is a good artist, and I think a good storyteller. McFarlane has good days and bad days, but he's not a very good storyteller. And a lot of artists at that point in time did not like McFarlane's art. Kids liked McFarlane's art because it was edgy.
Yeah.
And like dense and violent.
It's also just different from the traditional comics, because comics used to be very, you know, it's panels and that's it. Everything fits in the panel. And, you know, that's not to say that, you know, there weren't exceptions or anything, and it's not to say that none of that shit was still good, but, like, you know, you start getting more experimental with the panels. So, like, there are spreads and Spawn that, you know, are visually appealing. Whether they're good at telling the story you're trying to tell me is a different matter, because sometimes it can get confusing to read that shit, and I think when you're making a comic, readability should probably be at the forefront.
Yeah.
Unless it's for a specific reason, obviously. Like, if you're trying to, put a sense of confusion on the page, yeah, you should probably make it confusing to read, but, you know, most of the time you want people to fucking read it. Yeah, that's also a good point. Starspawn says, McFarlane did some rad stuff with heroes and villains in motion, but his faces were awful. Like, if you look at a fucking compilation of kid faces that McFarlane drew, you'd probably throw up by the end of it.
They're not the best. I like McFarlane's art. I really do. But I like it in the same way that I like slasher movies.
Mm-hmm.
Where 90% of it, not great, but it's really fun.
And Ghostblade says he thinks Spawn naturally appeals to him in a more instinctive way than the classic heroes. Yeah, like Spawn's an anti-hero.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a lot more relatable to some people, or a lot more interesting. I shouldn't say relatable. I don't really think in real life we have anti-heroes.
Like,
we have sociopaths.
Spawn is sick. I like Spawn.
I like Spawn a lot too, but, you know, I'm gonna find flaws with everything. Spawn says McFarlane drew everyone with sausage fingers.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I kept pointing out to Roadkill, and this is the case in a lot of, or pretty much all American comic books, is,
Did you just walk past the save point before?
I guess so. But McFarlane is triply guilty of this. You know how in anime and manga, Ghibli films specifically, etc., it's a big trope in Ghibli films. Anime and manga, food looks delicious. Food looks hearty.
Oh, yeah.
Food looks hearty. It looks tasty. It looks inviting. It's nice. In American comic books, food that artists draw, if they put any work into it at all, is fucking disgusting. And McFarlane does this a lot, like, because there's, you know, a lot of people in Spawn. In particular, there's a character in Spawn named Sam, who is a police detective, and he's fat, and he's the butt of a lot of fat jokes, and he eats all the time, and he's a fucking slob, and he's always cramming big nasty cheeseburgers that are dripping down his face and shit. It's disgusting. But it's not just McFarlane that does this, and it's not just Spawn. Like, almost every instance of food in American comics to me just looks gross. It does not look appealing. It's kind of treated as like it all looks like somebody's eating at a cafeteria and they're just like munching on some nasty shit. I don't know. I don't know what to do about this elevator.
Does it not work?
No, I get on it and an alarm goes off and I can't use the buttons and it says there's a weight limit of 1 person. So I think it's telling me that I'm over the weight limit. But
So you gotta go get to fighting weight.
yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I got the room 312 key. I can't get to the 3rd floor. It's blocked off.
Hey, you guys want me to provoke Eidolon into even further comic discussion? Because I can do it. I can do it based on just what Ghostblade said.
What did Ghostblade say?
Ghostblade said, I always thought that Batman was the coolest as a kid. I didn't know why, but I think it's because the others were too bright and colorful. I was going to say most people prefer Batman over, Superman specifically.
Yeah. I mean, I don't find that provoking.
No, the reason will be, though, because most people say Superman's so boring. Why would you want to read a comic about a perfect dude?
They cast Superman and Lois Lane today. I don't know who the fucking people are. I've never seen them in anything, but they did do that. I like Superman a lot. I like Batman. Batman is...
Like, we'll be watching other people stream, and they'll start talking, like, randomly. Because we don't watch anybody who's really a comic book fan. But, everybody knows about this shit now, and they'll say, like, God, Superman's so stupid and Eidolon, and they turn it off.
I just think that the opinion, and I, I've got my opinions. I'm opinionated. I don't care to shit on other people's opinions for the most part. But I find the idea of Superman, the opinion that Superman is boring, I think is a really fucking lazy opinion. Because I just feel like it's you being like, I'm too intelligent to like some goody two shoes. But like that's not what Superman's character is, and I just find it lazy to think that way. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Batman. It's my favorite comic book character ever.
Starspawn has described American food and comics looking like bowls of porridge with a bone sticking out.
Yes. Okay, like
a goblin stew.
There was I read a very very recent issue of Catwoman not too long ago.
Sorry.
And that's fine. And
it's not Adam Hughes, and he doesn't do interior art, does he?
Adam Hughes, no.
Okay, he only ever does those fucking awful pin-up covers that people go gaga for.
I do not like Adam Hughes art.
I fucking hate it.
It's not as bad as, some people who won't be named, Greg Land, but Adam Hughes is fine, but I don't prefer his art. But yeah, I was reading an issue of Catwoman, and yeah, she was like eating a bowl of cereal, and even this bowl of cereal they drew.
You showed me that.
Yeah, it's got like...
It looks like a gloopy mess. Like, it looked like she was eating paper mache.
It's like got milk and shit spilling all over her couch and shit, and it's like, why would Catwoman eat like this? I hate...
Not even in a sexy way, either. Which, they play up the sex appeal on women in comics constantly.
Yeah.
but like it was just disgusting.
Yeah, like it was just gross, and like I don't know. I was gonna say Catwoman has had a recent costume redesign, and I fucking hate
Oh,
it.
the one with the pits.
Yeah, she just has exposed armpits, and like, look, I'm not gonna like shit talk people's like fetishes or preferences or whatever. I'm a freak, like don't get me wrong, but like that's a stupid fucking costume design. It's like her torso is totally covered, her arms are totally covered, but there's like a cutout for the armpit in her latex outfit. It's stupid.
Yeah, all that's gonna do is make her her sweat come out easy.
Bro, I have no idea. I have no idea what it's for. It's stupid.
Oh, the Delicious in Dungeon anime is coming out in January.
Oh shit. Yeah, Starspawn posted a copy of Delicious in Dungeon, and Ghostblade was commenting on how good that looked, and it's very good. It's a very good manga, Ghostblade.
Tirith, she wears like leather.
She doesn't wear leather.
What does she wear?
She wears, I don't know, latex,
Leather.
Kevlar or something. I mean, she's not gonna wear leather. I mean, she's environmentalist.
Leather degrades.
You have to kill an animal for it though.
Yeah, but animals aren't killed for leather typically.
And, yes, they are. What are you talking about? I don't know what to do now. You son of a bitch. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you're supposed to struggle.
Oh.
You just stand there forever if you don't struggle.
Oh. Well, I didn't know that. Would have been good to know. Okay, that goes back in there. Can I access this elevator over here? I don't think so. Oh. I can go in here. What is this? Oh, this is the restaurant? Have I gone in here? Is this where the piano is? Yes.
Yeah, Catwoman. And to be pedantic, she's not a superhero. She's just a hero, correct? Because she doesn't have superpowers.
I don't know. That's a stupid distinction, in my opinion. I mean, Batman's a superhero.
Well, that's because he's a billionaire. That is a superpower.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I won't argue with that. Wait, I don't think I've gone through here before.
Starspawn has said her costume is velveteen, but Tirith has one-upped them by saying it's crushed velvet, like a cheap Halloween cloak.
Crushed velvet. That's terrible.
Like the emergency cloak. If it was velveteen, you'd have to skin a rabbit for it.
That's true.
What if it was corduroy?
What if it was corduroy?
So can you get to the third floor?
No.
Okay.
Like, I think you have to take the elevator to the third floor because the third floor is blocked off in the stairwell. But there's something wrong with the elevator and it won't let me operate it because it's too heavy. So I don't really know what that means.
mean, Catwoman's just a thief. She's just in a cat suit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like she has a lot of different designs over the years.
And I certainly don't have any problem with the character's overall story. You know, she's stealing from the rich.
Yeah, no, Catwoman is a very cool character.
It's just nobody can draw her like Tim Sale. Because everyone else is too cowardly to give her fucking abs.
That's accurate, yes. Okay, if you stand on the other sides of these things, you can put them in different places. So it's Little Mermaid, Cinderella. I don't...
Yeah, are there hints? Because I keep seeing it say Seed of the Princess.
It says Seed of the Princes. Oh, Seed of the Princess who spoke no word.
So that's Little Mermaid.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize they said different things. I'm stupid. Okay, well, let me correct this. So what does this one say? Who awoke from death.
So Sleeping Beauty.
Okay, so this one must be Cinderella. But yeah, I like comics a lot. I go through phases where I do and don't read them, but I will ramble about some fucking comics. Like, it's still fucked because it's missing one.
Yeah, you're looking for Sleeping Beauty somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where to look.
Or Snow White.
Right. I can't get into the rooms over here. All right, let's go back upstairs. I can't get in this door to the hall. I could go this way. There's a reading room. Nothing. I got an item in there, but I don't think it was anything specific. I've gotten items out of those rooms.
Which Catwoman are you looking at, Tirith? Because the dude I was talking about, Tim Sale, drew her with very broad shoulders as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Catwoman designs. Like, some of them suck and some of them are really nice.
Yeah, like, that's also a problem I have with a lot of comics. Well, with a lot of people who even draw stylized art, is they'll draw men of all sorts of body types, but women are always slim hourglass.
Yeah. That's a big problem. Yo, you want to see a comic with a big muscle lady? Read Glory.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the Image days, Liefeld, who's a bad artist, had a couple of comic book, sort of shorter comic books. One of them was called Glory. It was basically about a superhero lady in bikini armor. She was basically a Wonder Woman ripoff, I think. And Image Comics did a semi-reboot sequel to it in the 2010s and turned her into this huge fucking muscle-bound warrior. The art to that book is really fucking good. It's a really, really good story.
Is this the outfit you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a version of it.
Because this one makes sense. This is a bodysuit, and then she's got a little shrug on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a version of it.
But yeah, here's one where it is just a full body suit, and they've cut the armpits.
I'll agree with this. Like, this one, she's wearing a bodysuit that would otherwise not cover her arms, and she's got something on over her arms that's separate, which is whatever. But it's based on this, which is a full piece suit with armpit cutouts, and it's fetish shit. And I know it is.
I'm not seeing any with particularly broad shoulders. Yeah, like anytime you draw a woman who's supposed to be, you know, fighting people, I would appreciate it if you draw her with a muscle.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna defend the way comic book artists draw women. I mean, there's some huge disparities there still. There's some issues there.
And yeah, it seems very lazy to me to have this like fucking rainbow of body types for dudes.
Yeah.
But then it's only the one type for women. I was going somewhere else with that and I don't remember what it was.
It's foolish. It's dumb. I agree. There's Valiant Comics, which is one of the companies that got really big during the comic boom and then kind of declined. They have made a comeback in the 2010s and 2020s, in a fairly significant way. They've got a lot of popularity, and they brought back a lot of their heroes and comic stories and stuff, and revamped them. One of them is I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she is like a fat woman who is a superhero.
Oh, I remember what I was saying. Because like the early comics, it is only one body type for pretty much each gender. There's the woman body type and the man body type, and they're both like the 8 heads tall Roman idealized figure, and the men have muscles. But like, it's so obvious how the shit works because these are, comic artists who've studied anatomy. So all they're drawing is the base anatomy model and then drawing lines to show a suit.
Yeah, old school comic design for sure is just like anatomy studies with clothing drawn on over it.
And like that, still in some modern stuff irks me. Because like, for example, Batman and Superman. Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, if you don't have that iconic curl on Clark Kent, you can't fucking tell those motherfuckers apart. Like, if they're naked, like, they look the same to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there are artists who are better.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, artists who say, this is what Clark looks like, this is what Bruce looks like.
But, like, and again, this is something that you and I have talked about before because, like, I kind of think a lot of people look the same.
But I mean,
So,
I know
like,
that's kind of an unfair gauge because, like, I draw character illustrations. I pay super close fucking attention to just differences in faces.
I guess, but it's just like, I just feel like a lot of people look the same anyway. So, like, it makes sense to me that, like, these people would look very similar. Like, they're just, they're broad-shouldered, muscly brunette men. I have no idea where to go, so I think I'm just gonna save and figure it out next time because we're almost at 2.5 hours now.
Starspawn's asking if anyone remembers the fucking outcry against a woman with a slight muscle in her arm when Last of Us 2 came out.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Yeah, that was a fucking shit show, dude. Last of Us and Horizon. What's the sequel? Horizon Forbidden West? Is that what it's called?
Or when Aloy
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, Tirith is saying the slight bit of weight, but yeah, I remember the peach fuzz. Like, the graphics were so high res, you could see the little bit of hair that comes with your endocrine system that everybody has.
You say adrenochrome?
Yeah.
Your adrenochrome system?
Also, David was pointing out that so much of the shit he's into is because you were into it.
Oh, yeah, well, like, it's whatever. I like to seek things out. Like, that's not like, that's just what I like to do. I like to seek out media. I'm obsessed with, like, media, and, like, speculative fiction in particular. So, like, I go and find shit and I tell other people about it.
Yeah, you're the opposite of a gatekeeper.
That could be accurate, yeah. Like, I just really like to be like, hey, this is a cool thing. And, show it to people and, So, yeah, a lot of the stuff that David and I, bond over is stuff that I've introduced to. But that's not to say David doesn't introduce stuff to me. David hits me up with cool albums all the time.
Oh yeah, I wasn't trying to imply that.
No, I just don't want David to ever feel that way, because like it's just like I put a lot more time into hunting down shit than other people do, and that's just the way I am.
Also, earlier when you were explaining the '90s comic boom, Tirith said your mom was right. This is a podcast.
Well, yeah. Oh man, like yeah. Trying to think if I have any more thoughts on comics or anything right now. They cast Superman today.
Yeah, you
They-
were saying that.
They cast Superman and Wonder Woman.
You have no idea who either of those people are.
I don't know who the actors are. I have heard also. I think the rumor mill right now, or I think this is confirmed, that the two big Skarsgårds, Bill and what's the other one? Alexander, I think. Bill and Alexander Skarsgård are on the short list for Lex Luthor. I could see either one of them. That could be cool.
I think they should get Jesse Eisenberg again. I think that'd be really fucking
No,
funny.
I don't want any of that. I have heard that Jensen Ackles from Supernatural is on a list for Batman. So I don't know. They're gonna cast an older guy as Batman. I'm fairly sure as Bruce. The Clark they cast is a younger dude.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
But they haven't officially cast a Batman yet. I have no feelings for the new DC movies. I'm a huge, huge fan of the Marvel films, although I have not watched any since Endgame came out. But I'm a huge fan of the work that went into making those movies. And like the attention to world building, the consistency. They have a lot of downfalls too. I'm not going to deny that, but I think it's very impressive to translate like the mythos of American comic books into a what is now probably like a 30 film franchise with, you know, TV shit going on as well. I think that's pretty cool, but the DC stuff is a train wreck, and I really like DC comics, but you know, the movies are what they are.
We should have a clip of Nightwing saying "fuck Batman" from that awful show as a
Jesus
redemption
fucking
when you
Christ.
start talking about comics.
That show finally got canceled somewhere recently. That what's it called?
I don't fucking know.
Titans. It's called Titans.
Also, do you remember this thing that Ghostblade's talking about, Batman in Hong Kong?
Batman in Hong Kong? No, I don't. Look it up. Where was I go? Superman. If you want to read a good Superman story, if you I don't know, if you just want to read a good Superman story, Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb created a 4-part Superman story, I think in the early 2000s, called Superman for All Seasons. It's a really, really beautiful origin story for Superman. It's a 4-issue series. I think it is one of the things that James Gunn is taking a lot of inspiration from for the new Superman film. Batman Hong Kong by Doug Munch. That's cool. Doug Munch is a long-term Batman writer who does a lot of darker Batman stories, a lot of monster-themed Batman stories. I've not read this, but I will read this. That looks cool.
I assume that's right. Most of what I'm getting is relation to the Dark Knight.
Yeah, you're getting the scene where he goes to Hong Kong in The Dark Knight, but what you were just looking at was, I think, what's the book that Ghostblade was talking about. But yeah, I would highly recommend Superman for All Seasons. It's a very good Superman story. I would also recommend All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, which I think is the other big book that James Gunn has cited. I know a lot of people really like that. It's a lot less canonical than Superman for All Seasons, but it's a really cool story. It's Grant Morrison, and I would always recommend a Grant Morrison story because they're a fantastic writer. And Frank Quitely does the artwork, and they're a fantastic artist. All Star. So, like, I remember when I was. All Star Batman was coming out when I was graduating high school, I think. And
It was like a huge meme.
It was a huge meme. I own all of All Star Batman in original single issues. It's not good.
No, Frank Miller's a disgusting human being.
Frank Miller is not a cool guy. Frank Miller writes some really good comics. I really like a lot of Frank Miller comics. Frank Miller's Batman Year One is one of my all-time favorite Batman stories ever. I think it's a masterpiece. I like to read All-Star Batman. It's stupid as fuck, but it has an appeal to me. Much in the same way that, like, I was trying to describe the way Todd McFarlane appeals to me. Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale is probably the greatest Batman story ever. Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb. Tim Sale is an artist who sadly passed away a few years ago. And then Jeff Loeb is a writer who has done a lot of work for DC and Marvel. And Loeb was an executive producer, I think, on a lot of the Netflix Marvel shows. Jessica Jones and Daredevil and whatnot.
I know he's recently passed away.
No,
he passed away a while back, didn't he?
No, you're thinking of his son.
No, I know he did, like, a long time ago, because he had cancer, right?
Jeff Loeb's still alive.
Continue.
But they were their writer and artist team.
I thought he died.
No, he's
I
still
thought
alive.
I remembered you telling me that.
No. Anyway, yeah, sadly, Tim Sale passed away. Jeff Loeb is still alive. But when they were working together, they did Batman Long Halloween, Batman Dark Victory,
When in Rome.
Batman, they did Catwoman When in Rome, which is a spinoff of Long Halloween. They also did Superman for All Seasons. They did Spider-Man Blue, Hulk Gray, Daredevil Yellow, and Captain America Red, White, and Blue for Marvel. And they were really... They also had, for DC, a Challengers of the Unknown series. Challengers of the Unknown is a DC book from the early 60s, maybe even late 50s into the 70s. But I think mainly it came out in the 60s. About it's like one of those like science-based comics from back then, where, you know, like a team of scientists gets into all kinds of hijinks. But they did a Challengers of the Unknown series in the 90s that was really cool too. But they were really good, like in the Long Halloween and Superman for All Seasons, in taking like the big notes of the superhero mythos and distilling them in one story. So like Long Halloween just tackles everything that's good about Batman. Like it, you know, it addresses why he's Batman. It addresses his detective skills. It hits all the high notes in his rogues gallery. It tells a really good crime story. It's fucking really good. And Tim Sale is one of my favorite comic book artists. His designs are amazing, and they fit Batman to a T, but really they fit anything to a T, because he can adjust his stuff just a little bit every time he draws it to fit what he's drawing. So, like, you know, the Batman Long Halloween stuff is very dark and sinister, and I mean, I hate to say it, but almost a little Tim Burton-y in some of the designs, where they're a little...
It's very noir.
It's very noir, but the villains are very stylized and almost cartoonish.
Yeah, there's an abstract not abstract. I wish I had a better word than stylized. 'Cause stylized just so general.
Yeah.
But there's like just this stretching and pulling, this
Yeah.
playfulness with proportions of villains that make them look totally inhuman, even though that's just a dude with a painted face. That's just a dude in a suit.
Yeah.
That's just you know
And his use of color
Yeah.
is incredible as well. But then when he draws Superman for All Seasons, it's very warm. Like that the art in that book is very warm, it's very round. It's much more comforting than Long Halloween because it's a Superman story. Yeah, David, I think that's right. Like he's kind of like a caricature artist in that he can take a character in much the way a caricature artist would trim down a human to their basics. He can really trim down a comic book character to their basics. Have you ever read the Superman Batman series? Yes, I think I read most of that when it was coming out. I think I have all of it in single issues.
Do you remember the Batman Spawn series with all the highly erotic covers?
Well, there's a few different Batman Spawn books.
Well, the most modern
Yeah.
one.
So like there's some old Batman Spawn books that are really cool. They did a recent one because after McFarlane got tired of drawing Spawn, Greg Capullo did a long run of drawing Spawn. And then when DC relaunched after Final Crisis with Rebirth, and Scott Snyder took over writing the new Batman book, Greg Capullo was his artist, and he drew Batman for a long time. And Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Rebirth Batman is fantastic. So recently, Capullo did the art for a new Batman and Spawn comic crossover that happened this year. It's bad. It's fucking terrible. The art's cool, but it's a stupid ass story. Ghostblade says it might be interesting to know some comic books that aren't as famous that haven't heard of, like Spawn.
I mean, this is a famous comic book, but you might like Hellboy.
Yeah,
I love Hellboy.
like if we're just going like away from Marvel and DC, Hellboy is like top fucking tier. Mike Mignola created that with Dark Horse Comics, and he's got like Hellboy has developed into an entire franchise.
Yeah.
Like it's got the Hellboy books, the BPRD books, a ton of fucking spin-offs and stuff.
The dog shit 2019 movie.
It's it's got some movies that vary in consistency. What else is a good comic book? My mind's gone blank. What do I like?
I mostly read manga.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Grendel. Grendel's a cool comic book that you might like. It's about
The Grendel?
like a
Like from Beowulf?
well, it's spelled the same way, but it's not Beowulf. But it's
Oh, I always thought it was.
no, it's like it's about an assassin, and it's like a spirit that gets into an assassin. Yeah, good point, David. Walking Dead, that's really big, but those are, a classic comic series. Ooh, The Crow. There you go, Starspawn. Good recommendation. The fucking Crow, James O'Barr. So famously, The Crow is a 90s era sort of dark action movie starring Brandon Lee, who tragically died during the production of the film. But before that, it was a short comic series by an independent artist named James O'Barr, who created The Crow after years of personal anguish. He was engaged to a woman he was in love with, and she was just randomly killed by a drunk driver one day who like ran up on the sidewalk and ran her over and killed her. And after like years of like dealing with that, he channeled it into the creation of The Crow, which is like this really dark gothic revenge story about a musician who comes back. I don't know if he's a musician in the comic actually, but a character who comes back to life after he and his girlfriend are murdered, and takes revenge on the people who killed them. And it's a little amateurish because it's from like an early indie sort of thing, but it's a very good comic with very cool black and white art. Huge influence on goth subculture. It influenced by goth subculture and then went on to influence further goth subculture. Sandman, speaking of goth subculture, Neil Gaiman's The Sandman series is like probably as good of a comic book as you could ever get. So highly recommend that.
Night, David.
Hey, Night,
and
David.
Amanda.
That's right, Tira. Friends don't let friends dress as the Crow for Halloween. I don't know. I'll have to think of some more comic recommendations. But the much like all of the other interests that I gravitate toward, comic books are a bottomless fucking well, especially now. Like there's so many comics right now that are actually really good. Like Image Comics, who started out, you know, like I said, as kind of a flashy, no substance kind of thing, which for a good reason. You know, they started out because they wanted creators to maintain the rights to their books, and that's a noble thing. But famously, for a long time, Image Comics had no substance. Image Comics, over the last 20 years, has transformed itself into like as far as mainstream comics go, like the cutting edge of comic storytelling. Like, you know, DC and Marvel have their characters, but Image Comics has storytelling. Ghostblade, I agree with you. I like I'm a huge fan of flashy comics with no substance. So like I can do both. You know, I like stuff that has tons of substance. I like stuff that's really dumb. I do not have a problem with that. I gotta go. I gotta go to bed. I'm talking too much. What time is it? It's almost 11 o'clock. I gotta go to bed. It's hot in here. Oh my god. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. And we will be back tomorrow.
Promise this week.
Promise. We will be back with Final Fantasy. I'll talk about comics more tomorrow if you want me to. I'll talk about something tomorrow if you want me to. All right. Night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.